Optimism ahoy!
Where? I didn't hear any.
Okay, let's get this going then.
We're gonna wing this so hard yeah.
We're gonna fly in circles. Woo!
Yep.
Welcome to the PrinnyCast special topic episode!
That's kind of lame to hear that, but horrible title too, but woohoo! Here we are. I'm Chris, this is Grover.
Hello.
Over here's Mike.
Hello.
We're not actually all in the same room, so...
Yeah, if we were all in the same room, the shit would be a lot more organized, probably.
Or at least we'd have something else to look at than a TV screen monitor. Yeah.
We could actually
You
write
guys are
stuff
ugly,
down.
though. I'll take to my monitor.
Yeah, that's what I usually think.
No.
The other printies would be attracted by my gravitational pull, and things would be bad.
Meteor showers explode on impact. Now, we had a show like this last year where we also did topic shows every week instead of the format that we have now, so forgive us if we retread some old ground again, or if we're rusty or anything like that.
Or we don't know what the hell we're doing.
Oh, and you probably already noticed in the background, enjoy Connor's playthrough of Disgaea. He's one of the guys who's posted to longplays.org, so that gives us something to look at while we converse, and it's seasonal. It's not really a scary game by any stretch of the imagination, but it's definitely perfect for a show with a name like PrinnyCast. Right! So, where do we begin this shindig of horror?
I have no clue.
Have you played any horror games this year?
I played 7 Days to Die. I mean, that game was scary. Those zombies are really damn scary.
Well, one thing Minecraft has definitely proven, you do not have to have realistic zombies to get spooked out of your mind.
Yeah, Minecraft still seems spookier, because,
You'll be moving along, chiseling away, getting your stuff, and all of a sudden you'll hear either an or it's...
Yeah, and boom, I'd rather hear the or the clink, 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 clinking clink of the skeletons.
Yeah, the worst one's always the creepers, though.
Yeah, especially when you're like down in a hole mining and you hear that and you know there's nowhere to go.
I mean,
Can't you just, like,
not even the
take a tunnel
Left 4 Dead, man.
and then block it?
With creepers? Yeah, that's what most people do anymore. With 7 Days to Die, it's about exactly the same thing, but the zombies will rip down the walls and come at you.
Oh.
I wish that game was updated. I mean, I was figuring by now that, because it's alpha. I mean, it's alpha.
Mm-hmm. It's probably a small team, too.
Yeah, I think it's 3 people. It's just another game that's just disappeared off the map. I'm getting kind of tired of this because I'm paying for these games and they never update them or anything. I know they're alphas, but damn, man.
And then there's others that you get away from for like a month or two, and then they do a whole
There's
big load
so
of
much
updates.
stuff that you don't do, yeah.
Don't Starve comes to mind.
Yeah, I think Don't Starve is done. I think they finished it.
Oh.
Yeah, it's finally
Kind
done.
of sad, but at the same time, that's cool.
Don't Starve is also a spooky game in its own way. That game gets weird sometimes. Really weird.
Oh, especially when you lose your sanity.
Yeah, when you lose your sanity, things start going weird fast. Everything changes, you start getting attacked by nothing.
Ooh, hand comes out.
Yeah, it does. It sounds as weird as that sounds. Yes, you get attacked by nothing.
Yep.
Nothing appears and attacks you, and if you try to fight back, it just makes it worse. So that's when you see those crazy people running down the street trying to get away from them you can't see. That's what happens. They think they're in Don't Starve.
Yeah, well, yeah, let their meter get too low.
And let their meter gotta go pick some flowers.
Hey, I played some Amnesia lately. I know how that goes.
Mm-hmm.
The little ice cream that's crawl along the floor.
More Doom games. Doom is always fun.
There's actually quite a few knockoffs out there, like Painkiller. They do
Hell and
a good
Damnation?
job.
I remember that one, yeah. I have that.
There's a couple others like that. I've got one called Necron Vision or something like that that's probably similar to a cross between that and Wolfenstein. Haven't played it yet. I think I just recently got downloaded.
I would say, Doom 3, I didn't like it very much.
Most people hated it because of the whole flashlight thing.
Yeah, the flashlight thing. And then there's there's another Doom before that, and I didn't like it either. I think it was on 64 or something.
Final Doom?
Yeah, I think Final Doom might have been it, and it was just, I liked the old style Doom, the way it looks and everything. Crappy 3D, but still good looking in a way. I wish they would do it like that, just to, stuff.
Well, I haven't really played any scary games this year, unless you count Dark Souls, and it's not really that scary, I don't think. It's more just difficult.
There's probably some panic moments in it, but it's more, like you said, difficult than it is spooks. But it's got zombies, it's got skeletons, or so does Skyrim and half a dozen other games. But
yeah,
I played Final Fantasy 1. It scared me to death when I saw the ghosts. Ah, yeah.
Final Fantasy 1. I don't think any of the Final Fantasies ever really scared me. If you know, we're talking about Final Fantasy for one of these shows. It's just it always happens. And it's been like a year, and once again we're back on Final Fantasy.
It's got to pop in there somewhere.
Now
I got on the Prinny Plays doing horror games, and I've been trying to do about 2 a week. And at first I thought, do I even have enough of horror games to really make this work? I mean, I was stretching it. The only Genesis game I could think of that had the slightest horror element that I actually own, without resorting to ROMs or something like that, was one called Shadow Blasters, which has nothing really to do. It's a action platformer. You choose from 4 different monks who battle evil ghosts and stuff like that until you get to the final boss. That's kind of like these God versus God things at the end. So So yeah,
I'm just my brain's kind of completely horror games. I mean, games that were unintentionally horror. I'm thinking a lot there.
And there was a ton of zombie games, so that's mostly what I ended up finding. But the problem is now, as I went through those bundles recently, and a lot of them were horror related, because I thought, oh well, this would work good for it. Oh, well, this would work good for it. This would be interesting. Twisted Metal Black's kind of crazy spooky in a way. That's fitting too. I can throw that in there. Now I have way too many games left. I have basically 2 uploads to still do before the end of October. I have the other half of Amnesia at this point to upload. It's already recorded, but I've got 2 shows left and probably 30 games to choose from. So I've got plenty for next year at least.
The horrors.
So here's a question: why do you think there's not a lot of horror game movie license anymore? I mean, aside from Saw, I don't think there's been. No, I mean the other way around. Where there used to be stuff like Nightmare on Elm Street and Warlock, Friday the 13th, and all these stuff. They used to come to game consoles even before the whole ratings thing showed up. Why do you think they were there then and not now? Was it like an LJN thing that was just pulling up the license they could?
Some of them are so bad that they just learned their lesson. They don't want to do it anymore. Like, we'll make an original scary game, or we'll make an original scary movie. But it's so hard to make a scary anything right now because it's harder than it was back then to scare us, and it takes a lot to startle me.
I do remember they made a Thing game about 10 years ago or so there was that. But my theory is, since most scary movies are based around like either a central monster or a killer slasher sort of thing, it's really hard to make a game where all you're doing is avoiding one character. I mean, Clock Tower comes to mind, so I know it can be done. Those are actually some fairly successful games, but
for some reason when you said about avoiding a single character, all I can think of is Resident Evil 3. Stars!
I mean, wasn't that what Amnesia was?
I never watched Amnesia.
Avoiding.
I mean, never played it.
So, I mean...
Well, it wasn't just the one character, but it was close enough. You never really had more than 2 chasing in at a time, so... But that's basically exactly the sort of thing. So it can be done, so... Movie licenses are such a big deal everywhere else. Just about every kid's show or kid's movie that comes along obviously gets a license somewhere. Every other action movie gets one. Horror games just don't anymore. Like I said, I could name 2 out of the last decade.
Yeah, I don't know. They're just not as popular, I guess. They've kind of lost their... I think the problem was horror games kind of got cheesed a little bit.
Yeah, there was like, Friday the 13th, there was nothing remotely scary about that game.
I don't know, but that was Nintendo era. That's what I mean. We can do scary stuff now.
That is true.
I
think a Jason game would be really awesome right now, honestly. Freddy Krueger game right now, that would be... Could you imagine that?
I think they're afraid of people wanting to play as the main character.
And that's what would happen. I mean, they had that Jaws video game, and you played as Jaws.
Oh, they did make that, didn't they? I was thinking only the old Nintendo one, but they did make a new Jaws game.
They did make a new one. I don't know how old it is.
I think there would be some backwards horror there, and I think I would like that too if I could play Freddy and try to... That sounds so sadistic, play Freddy and torture and kill people in game.
Well, here's an idea. It just now came to mind that games like Left 4 Dead are so popular right now. Why not have a game where characters have to get to point A to point B, and the other side plays classic horror monsters? Well, not necessarily classic, but since New Line and Time Warner owns most of those guys now, it wouldn't be that hard for them to pull something like that off.
I think that would be really fun, and have a time limit too.
Yeah, and each of the monsters have their own, unique skills. Gotta have that random teleport ability. It's all the movies.
I tell you, there's nothing scarier than there's something like that on Team Fortress 2, and it's called the Vagineer. It's some mutated, horrible version of the Engineer, and oh my god, that thing is scary. The way it speaks and how it does stuff. If you don't know what I'm talking about, and you're listening, go look that up, and you'll be like, dear god, that's terrifying.
I mean, other than Amnesia, I can't really think of anything that's actually even critically been praised for how scary it is. Just Amnesia.
Yeah, even the games that used to be really high up there for at least some spooky quality. I mean, Silent Hill's gone downhill. Resident Evil's gone all actiony. Dead Space surprisingly went all actiony.
As Yahtzee like to call it, actually surprisingly alive space.
Yeah. You know what game did they ever make a game for Hellraiser?
Nope. Well, they may have made like an Amiga run, because it does seem like there was one made, but I don't know anything about it.
I think Hellraiser would be a fantastic horror game. There's such a universe for that game.
1991.
Oh, there was one?
Yeah. Oh, by Color Dreams. Oh, yeah. No wonder. Never.
What was it?
It was for the Nintendo Entertainment System, made by that company who was famous for making some of the worst games on the Nintendo because they weren't official.
No.
I remember what those cards looked like too.
Yeah, they were light
terrifying. Kind of like the Bible games.
Well, that's the exact same company. They couldn't sell
Oh,
it,
God.
so they knew they could get a different group of people because of stuff like Touched by an Angel was so popular. So if they just marketed to a different group of people, they'd be fine.
Dear God. That's probably why I never saw it, because I never usually got that unofficial crap.
Tengen was about the only one who did unofficial stuff well. Until recently.
Well, in Tengen, even some of their stuff was just repackaged.
Oh yeah, but it was stuff off largely Sega games, I guess, like Shinobi and...
Gauntlet, Pac-Man,
Yep.
they did everything.
Until they got in trouble over that whole Tetris thing, and I think that's what broke them.
Yeah, you don't with Tetris.
Not after Nintendo paid all that money for it, no.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that we brought this topic up even beyond the spooky shows. Do you think there will ever be an end to the zombie craze, or is it just going to be kind of a wave effect like vampires?
I would be surprised if there was an end. I would be surprised if it ended.
This seems to come and go. Like in 2004, we had the Dawn of the Dead stuff, and then it seems to just settle down for about a couple of years, and then it comes back. Because we love that stuff. There's nothing funner than zombies. I mean, who doesn't want to dress up like a zombie and go do filming just to be one of the zombies?
Certainly have easy casting calls, I have to say that.
I like their rule for the zombies is usually they don't like to keep the camera on the zombie for more than 5 seconds. Otherwise, the zombie looks more alive than dead. And, you know, if your mind puts together, it can't be dead and it ruins it. So they do quick sessions of the zombie view.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if that's part of the problem with video game zombies, is we get to look at them for too long.
I don't think it was the zombies, because that's a different story. They don't look alive. They look
They're just-
really weird.
Yeah,
They're
but
just overused. They're not scary because they're everywhere.
the classic trope to a good scary villain of any kind is to show them as least as possible, and when they do finally show, make them as frightening as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that works for games too.
A lot of people told me that Freddy Krueger was terrifying. He was never even vaguely terrifying to me. Michael Myers, on the other hand, was absolutely terrifying to me.
Freddy had that sense of humor thing going on,
Yeah.
I think, because they kind of got campy with him intentionally. It was like Chucky.
Yeah, okay, Jason was a little terrifying. He was slightly scary.
On the plus side, we do have stuff like Zombies Ate My Neighbors, who have a lot of these characters in them, kind of.
Yeah. The only one I think that they don't have in them is the Hellraiser characters. And those little tiny guys that run around slapping you with their claws, those are like, nah, never mind. I don't think that's like... They're like a pseudo Freddy Jason mixed thing, midget. Those little midgets that run around and attack you in the supermarket stores.
The axes.
Yeah.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, they throw axes, but they also have these little Freddy-like fingers that they scrape you with.
There is a place you can actually play as Freddy Krueger. The new Mortal Kombat reboot had DLC for Freddy Krueger.
That is awesome.
It came with it too.
Yeah.
I got the one that came with it.
Yeah,
It's like playing Baraka.
Yeah, we are all over the place, aren't we?
Yeah.
I know some of those Japanese horrors are actually a lot more scary. I've seen one of those like, whoa.
And I
when
think
you
that's-
wake up night.
One of the more popular horror franchises is also Fatal Frame, because it takes a lot from that. I've not actually played Fatal Frame before. Not a single one of them. But I've heard a lot of great things. A lot of people... I've seen a couple of streams, but I'm not much of a horror game person, for one thing.
Sometimes I wonder if we should almost do, for games and movies or stuff for when we do our specials.
Oh yeah, when it comes to this, I don't mind if we branch out a little bit. Talk about comic books, talk movies, TV shows.
Entertainment things, yeah.
It's largely about games, because we're the PrinnyCast. But yeah, we got off topic
Finesse.
a little bit. Watch your foot. There's a microphone there.
You said it to yourself.
Yeah, I'm just talking about...
Okay, just making sure. I was just like, huh?
How did he know?
Everybody did it at the same time, and everybody's kind of self-conscious all of a sudden.
I know you said that, and I started looking around, like, is my foot? And I was like, wait a minute, what? How in the hell would he, if it was?
So speaking of sound, the sound is powerful as far as a driving force in horror stuff. It's certainly been that case in the movies, but I think we really saw that particularly in Silent Hill. The entire series is very well known for having background noises and soundtrack that really gets into your teeth, into under your skin. That's what I'm looking for. Because it's hardly even music half the time. It's just...
It's all the ambience in it.
That's not always ambience, though. I don't know if that's what he's supposed to be hearing, or she's, depending on which game it was.
Resident Evil kind of had that, too, a little bit. Actually, Resident Evil 3 actually had it a lot more than the other ones, though. I still feel that Resident Evil 3 was a masterpiece.
And that is about the only Resident Evil I have not played yet.
Really?
My brother played it way more than I did, but 2 has always been my favorite.
I think it is mine too.
I got to play 2, but I never got to beat it because someone stole the second CD.
Yeah.
Someone stole my second CD. I never got to beat it because of that.
I even have it on the N64.
Ooh.
I had it on the PlayStation. I was special.
They made an HD remix for the GameCube, didn't they?
Yeah.
Or did they get that far?
I don't think it was actually a remix in the way
Was
that
it Code Veronica?
the first one was.
Code Veronica was the Dreamcast one, then it got ported out. Actually, Code Veronica was supposed to be Resident Evil 3, but Sony paid them to bring it to theirs. So, Resident Evil Nemesis was supposed to be the side story. Code Veronica was supposed to be the 3, but because Sony had more money than Sega, it got swapped. Little trivia there
Don't
for
mess with Sony.
the folks who didn't know.
Sony has way more money.
Oh, there's another movie series. Yeah, why don't we have any Paranormal Activity games? Because they'd probably be boring as heck.
You're like having a Ghost Hunter video game.
Yeah.
You heard a bump. You heard a click. Oh my god.
Let's check our readings.
Check your readings, and then you see some weird shit in front of you.
Yeah, well, there's always Ghostbusters. We can always have some more Ghostbusters games.
We can have some more ghosts. Anything's better than the original Ghostbuster games.
Yeah. Now, there was actually made a couple years back that was pretty good.
Oh yeah. That
I have that.
There was
was
actually some statements that it was almost going to be the official sequel to the
Yeah, they wanted
series.
to make it a new movie,
Yep.
but I forget what happened that they couldn't.
And it all came together simply because of some mock screenshots that some folks in Europe made, and they got hired to finish the game. More trivia for
the
everybody.
movie for a little bit, but then it just got indefinitely postponed. They said they weren't going to do it.
Yep. So what do you guys think about the whole gore versus chills or action versus horror kind of mentality? Where it's
Gore
more
is
about
overdone.
the blood and guts and more about the guns and ammo than it is the actual horrors and the thrills and the ambience.
There was a show, and I cannot find it. I've looked everywhere for this horror movie, and it was called Truth or Dare. And for the love of me, I cannot find this. It was a horrible, horrible movie, design-wise. But other than that, it was just barbaric. This guy was insane, and he would just randomly kill people for no reason. And he would go back to the network and escape, and he would just start killing people again when he got out. And he would play Truth or Dare with them, and he would do something, and they would do something. And I just remember this because I watched it, of all days I watched it on Easter. And I was just like, what the hell is this? But it was so absurdly horrifying that I had to keep watching until the end, which the end was just he went back to the network and he was so badly injured from playing Truth or Dare so much that he couldn't leave, and that's how it ended. So I'm just like, that's all I remember.
So we talked about zombies, we talked about horror game movie license, talked about sound a little bit, curves and chills. Yeah, that's where we were going. We kind of took off on the movie end of things. But it's hard to have any kind of horror or anything without a little bit of gore in some form, simply because, I don't know, it's too ingrained in the culture of it, I think.
Yeah, gore is really, really difficult in video games. You have to be careful.
Because you get overboard, you start turning into Mortal Kombat, which is more parody than it is.
Yeah, and then you got people like, even when it's, a mature game, you get too gory and parents start freaking out even though the game's mature.
Yeah, Dead Space. I remember that campaign.
And that really hurts the gaming community more than anything, too.
It does. It's kind of like when Dante's Inferno came out, and EA. It is EA that has that, right? Not Activision. I'm pretty sure
I don't
it's EA.
remember.
And they hired that fake group of people to pretend to be Christian protesters
Yeah.
at E3 that one year.
Every time somebody mentions Dante's Inferno, all I can think of is gigantic satanic penis.
I can't imagine why. Final boss, ahoy!
Yeah.
But yeah, let's dig into the action versus horror thing that everybody's kind of leaning toward. More and more action, less and less adventurous, I guess. Kind of mysterious horror thing. And it's not that it's even that particularly successful. Most people were angry at Dead Space 3 and Resident Evil 6 because they pulled so far away from what made those games original.
Yeah.
So it's not the fans necessarily asking for this stuff. Is this just a mentality of everybody trying to keep up with the Call of Duty or something?
More than likely.
Don't know why that would be the aspiration, but yeah.
Because Call of Duty makes a boatload of money like nobody else in the entire history of media. Follow the money. Well, I take that back. Grand Theft Auto did throw them, didn't they?
We're so off track. I can't think of much more. I mean,
Well, how do we round this out? Well, there is one thing I'll show.
What's that?
There's this picture of South America, and there's all these funky lights that's just huge area in the middle of the ocean out there, and there's nothing there. There's no islands. And just to look at it, it's like, what the heck? Is that a flock of UFOs?
What
But
the hell is this?
NASA
Whoa.
explained that is actually tons of fishing boats.
Is it really?
That's what they say.
That's insane.
There's a specific breed of fish that they're trying to catch at night, and they bring these great big trawlers hunters out there with these powerful lights to go hunting for them. So, but yeah, that's kind of crazy when you consider how many boats that has to be to make that many lights. But it's kind of creepy just to look at it.
Yeah, that's a lot of damn boats. That's kind of, it's very creepy.
So I thought I'd share that with everybody. It's not game related. I'm not even sure it's horror related, but it's creepy enough that I thought, oh, there you go. I do like the quote from Yahoo News, though. Are they an unstoppable force of electric underwater creatures swimming slowly but steadily toward the shore where they will flood our cities and force us all to watch Finding Nemo from now until the end of time? Kind of sounds like something I'd say. But yeah, we seem to have swam ourselves in circles. So it's been a while. We haven't done the topic show thing in a while. We've obviously had some technical issues. This has not helped matters, but
Everything tries to go wrong when we're doing
not
this.
horror game people. But
No,
at the
we're
very
really
least, we try.
We try.
That's not what I meant to say. But at least we're back doing it again. We'll have something next month. The one for December may be kind of belated because I have a feeling we'll be taking our 2-week vacation or more like we did last year again.
Yep.
But I do want to get
BlizzCon is in 2 weeks, so I won't be there for that week for sure.
You actually on this time, or are you just going to be watching it?
No, I'm going to be watching it, but I have people coming over to watch it with me, so
No
I
problem.
will have guests.
I'll just get one of my guest hosts unless Grover's gone too, in which case I may just call it. But we'll see. Since I know how to do guest host now.
Guest host.
I don't need real people now. But
What?
Guest hostess.
if anybody has any ideas for what they'd like to see for topic shows in the future, let us know. We still have a lot of topic ideas that we had from the old series that we haven't done yet, so we can get back to those. And yeah, the December thing, that'll probably be... I'm going to try to get it done before New Year's because it's probably going to be New Year's related. That's all I'll say for now. But, yeah, awkward.
Awkward.
But I hope you guys enjoyed our crazy conversations, and we'll see you all next time for Funny Plays or Game News or Roundtable. Till next time.
See you next week.
See you next time.